Namaste. How is everyone doing? Today I'm going to walk you through the heel flap and gusset technique that I have detailed in my new sock pattern recipe um, on my Ravelry profile. You can find me as Krityum over there. Krityum means creative, and I have put up a few of my patterns on Ravelry if you would like to follow them. So I'm working on a basic sock pattern recipe, which will be called a Krityum sock recipe, and this will have details on two different techniques. One is the afterthought heel from the toe up, working on a sock from the toe up while using the afterthought heel, or using the heel flap and gusset technique. So if you watch my previous videos on this channel, and by this channel, I would like to remind, if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel, and if you like this video, kindly give me a thumbs up. That will really help me and my videos reach more people. So thank you for doing that if you have done it previously, and I would love for you to do it again for my video, and hopefully you will like it. So here goes. In this sock sample that I'm doing, it's worked from the toe up, and I'm going to try and work the heel flap and gusset technique from the toe up. As you know, that technique is commonly used for cuff down socks, and I prefer doing toe up socks, so I have researched a bunch of tutorials on YouTube, and also a lot of patterns that I have in my pattern library, and I have come up with a way of working the heel flap and gusset from the toe up. So here is how I do it. In the recipe, you will see that you will need to cast on at this point using Judy's Magic Cast On, and then I have two increases for the toe, the general wedge toe increase, and then there is another rounded toe increase option that you can take a look at, and then go up to your foot length minus 2 inches. So that's how much you will have knit before you start the heel flap and gusset. And then we will work the gusset first. So I will increase, this is my front of the socks, which is on the single needle, and here are my 2 back needles. So I'm going to use increases on this end and this end, make one right here and make one left here on every alternate round, and the every other alternate round would be simple knitting around. So I will do that for about 15 times, but it will depend on the number of stitches you have on your needles. So go ahead and get the sock recipe from my Ravelry page, and then you can know which how many times you will need to do this. So I am at the end of the round here. This is my end and beginning of the round, and this is my center half. So the back half will have increases on either side. To do the make one right, here is what I do. I have seen Stephen West tries to remember this by saying I'll be right back, and I'll be right back will prompt you to put your left needle in between this bar that is between the 2 stitches. Here is the bar between this stitch and this stitch, and where I want to make the increase. So I'll put my left needle in that bar from the back to the front, hence the saying I'll be right back, from the back to the front, and then I'll knit the front leg, and that will twist the stitch, but it will twist it in such a way that the stitch, when you have increased it, will be leaning to the right. of the back stitches. Okay, I split my stitch, so that's not something that you want to do. Not without twisting or without splitting your stitch. Knit into the front leg, and you see, well, let me knit a couple more. And now if you see, this first stitch is, let me put it a bit back here. You see that leg is leaning to the right. So that's the make one right increase. So I'll do that before the back stitches and at the end of the back stitches. Once I reach the end, oops. So these slicker needles, oh, by the way, I'm using Knit Pro Cubics needles, and I love these, and they make my stitches more uniform and even. And I'm using my own yarn. It's a new tester's hank of my micro stripes yarn. So if you see, you'll see one plain pink stripe and then one speckled stripe, and the speckles change in color, so that's how it looks. That's my micro stripes yarn. It's going to be in my shop. And talking about my shop is Krityum Handmade at Etsy. So you can find it at krityumhandmade.etsy.com. So I'm just going to finish the back stitches. So at the end of the back stitches, which I am fast approaching, I will do a make left increase. Make one left. I will make one stitch left, and left, for the left one, I think Stephen West says keep the front door open. And to keep the front door open, what I do is I insert my left needle into the bar between the two stitches where I want my increase to be, and then I knit the back leg of that bar that I have picked up, and that will make here, if you see, a left leaning increase. So that's what I do. I make one right here at the beginning of the back stitches and make one left here at the end of the back stitches. And now I'm going to simply knit across the front, and when I come back to the beginning of the round, I am going to knit one round plain, and then these two rounds I'm going to be repeating over and over 15 times, and you can get your number in the recipe. The recipe has numbers for small, medium and large. It has the toe up versions, and it has the normal wedge toe, and it has a rounded wedge toe increase, and then for the heels I have two options, the afterthought heel and the heel flap and gusset. So here I am reaching the end of the round or the beginning of the round, and those are my front stitches. So I'm going to repeat both these rounds, this one where I have just increased, and then the next round will be simple knitting around, and then I'm going to do these 15 times, and that means I will have 15 extra stitches on either side of my back stitches. So these back needles will have 15 extra stitches. If you want, you can place a marker when you start increasing, so you can keep a track of how many increases you've already made. and that should help you to keep track. And once that is done, we will start working on the heel turn. So I will do that and come back and show you how the heel turn is done. So I have finished all my rounds and ended with the plain knit round, and these are, I've added my stitch markers. These are the extra stitches, the stitches between these two markers. This is marker 1 and this is marker 2. The stitches between these two are my original stitches, and I have added extra stitches on either side. This is my back of the foot, this is my front, and here is where I am right now. So the next step is to turn the heel and give that a little bit of a curve to make it go perpendicular. So here is how we do it. We are going to knit across to the second marker. Knit all of these stitches and here I am completing my gusset stitches, which were formed by a make one right before the beginning of my back stitches back of the foot section. So now I'm doing the first half of the back of the foot section. And I have to be careful not to split stitches. So that first half of the back of the foot section is done now. Now moving on to the second half, and so here I am knitting the second back needle, and I will knit it only till the marker, so only the original stitches. So we are knitting all the way across from the right gusset stitches to the original back stitches all the way, and not knitting the left gusset stitches. Now we turn, remove the marker, turn, slip the first stitch as if to purl, place the marker again, and start knitting, start purling all the way back to the first marker. So I'll be back when I reach there, and then the next steps. I'm almost to the first marker now while purling across the original stitches, and once I reach the marker, I'll remove it. I'll turn my work. I will slip the first stitch as if to knit, right? I'll put the marker back in, and I'll start knitting again. Okay, and now we need to continue this for however many times I have written in the pattern, and we'll go back and forth, and the markers will keep moving closer and closer for the number of times I say in the pattern. So once I am done that, I will show you what needs to be done next. It's the same thing that I just did. You keep repeating that for the number of times written in the pattern. All right, so here we are on the other end again. I again do the same drill, remove the marker, turn my work, slip the first stitch as slip this stitch as if to purl. So when I'm on the purl side, I slip as if to purl. When I'm on the knit side, I slip as if to knit. And I keep knitting back and forth, moving the markers closer together, and then I come back for the next step. That will be my heel turn, and then we do the flap. All right, see you once I'm on the other side of the number of stitches that I need to do this way. I have now completed all the turns, the short rows, and my markers are these few stitches apart. So the next step is to knit. I finished here and I've knit across this half of the back stitches between the markers, and what I'm going to do next is going to knit this half, and then I'm going to start finishing the heel turn. That's so for that, remove the marker, okay, so I've removed the marker now. There's a snag here, that's fine, it's going to go inside. So the next step is to pick up the slip stitches. In order to avoid the gaps, I need to pick up this neck that is around the slip stitch. So if you see this carefully, this is the neck around the slip stitch from the previous rows. What we're going to do is pick this up from the back, put it up on the left needle, and knit these two strands together in order to close that gap. So do that again. This strand, the back strand, put it up on the needle, on the left needle, and knit these two strands together. Right? So I keep doing that. So you see the gaps are closing down. So I'm going to continue that across. And making sure you're taking all the strands of the stitch and not splitting the stitch. And that's it. And then the remainder stitches that were not slipped, you just knit them. So I am just knitting these simply. So the left back needle is now completely done. So the next thing, this is how it looks, right? Next thing, front needle. I'm going to knit around and come back here and then show you how to pick up these slipped stitches and how to remove this marker. so I'll be back. I have knit across the front stitches, and I am on I'm going to now knit the first needle of the back stitches with the slipped stitches in there. So I start knitting here, and now I have come to the slip stitches. So in order to do this again, put the thing up on the needle, the neck, and knit the two strands together. And this side will look a bit different, but it's the same thing. So I'll show you clearly here. Put that on the left needle and knit the two strands together. So I keep doing that till I reach the marker, and I am done with the heel flap. The heel turn, sorry. And the next step would be to do the heel flap, and which I am going to show you shortly. Okay, so the slip stitches are all picked up and no gaps here, very neat. Take off that marker now, and now I have these stitches left on the back needle, but these were not the slipped ones, these were the original. So now I'm going to do 15 stitches across, and you will have your own number in the pattern depending on what size of socks you are knitting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And after the 15th stitch, I'm going to slip one stitch, knit one stitch, and pass the slip stitch over, right? Slip one, knit one, pass the slip stitch over, SKP, and then I'm going to turn my work. So when I turn my work, I'm going to now slip the first stitch as if to purl. Slipping the first stitch as if to purl, and then purl 15. Don't want to slip my stitches, and this yarn is just a sample hank, so it's not the real merino nylon blends that we use for socks knitting. So how many did we do? There would be a gap here, right? So the first one was slip, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 purls, and I'm going to do 8 more. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and the next step, purl 2 together, right? So we are purling 2 together. Now turn again. Slip the first stitch as if to knit. Knit 15 again. And as I said before, you will have your own numbers. So keep doing this, and at the end of the knit you will do SKP. At the end of the purl you will do purl 2 together, and you will keep doing these decreases till you have the complete number of stitches that you had originally on your back needles. So I will have 16 stitches each on my back needle. So once I am there, I will be back and show you the next steps. So here I have completed all the turns. This is how the heel flap is going to look. It's all neat both ways. And the next step is just to knit in the round as before for your leg as described in the pattern. So that is your heel flap and turn. This is how your gusset heel is going to look, like that. Alright, and from here we are just going to knit around to make the leg however high we want it. That's it.